So alam naman natin na since we're dealing with variables, multivariable na tayo, so you have to expect na sometimes we'll be integrating na twice kasi these integrals exist in a way na pwede nating makuha yung antiderivative of the previous one. So parang ganun yung concept. Kaya the integrals, we can do that and then we can perform multiple integration in just a single parang expression. So ano ba ibig sabihin ng double integrals? Galing siya dun sa concept na, di ba nagkakaroon tayo ng partial differentiation. So technically, pag ginawa mo to, para ka ginagawa mo yung reverse ng partial differentiation. So that is multiple integration. So ito yung formula for the iterated integrals. We have f of xy. So dalawa yung variable niyan and then dalawa rin yung kanyang differentiating variable. So you start with the innermost part. So halimbawa, you want to integrate this. So you start with this variable and then after integration, ito namang nasa labas. So ganun yung concept niyan. And the region of integration, as you can see in the figure, so meron tayong figure dito, xy plane lang to, no? So the region of integration, so halimbawa, nag-integrate ka. Okay, so you started with an equation for xy and then dy. So from 1 to x siya. So you started with 1 and then you end up with x. So para makagawa ka ng line and then after that line, you'll be getting an area. So yun yung concept. Okay? Or if you started with a line and then you'll be ending up with an area and then after the final integration, you'll be getting the volume. So yun yung concept for these double integrals. And then let me discuss muna yung ating tinatawag na non-elementary integrals. So, sometimes, there are integrals na hindi talaga natin kayang isolve kasi they are not really meant to be solved by elementary mathematical operations. So, usually, we solve this. Kung definite integral sila, we'll try to use mga approximation methods natin para ma-determine yung value ng ating mga non-elementary integrals. But if they are of course, kung indefinite integral, then it's kind of difficult for us to do that. Hindi siya nagkakaroon ng parang sumusunod sa mga rules natin ng integration. So therefore, meron tayong mga notations na ginagamit for for the non-elementary integrals. So we start with this elliptic integral. Elliptic integrals exist in the polynomial functions. So ito, we have a function f of x is equal to a of x plus b of x and then the square root of s of x and then divided by c of x plus d of x and then square root of s of x. So ibig sabihin itong s of x na to, it is a polynomial of degree 3 or 4 with no repeated roots. So for example, meron kang certain polynomial. Let's say you have x cubed plus 2x squared plus 1. So hoping na wala tong roots na repeated sana. So halimbawa, this is ganon. So you can call that the s of x, okay? And then sabi dito, yung ating a of x and then plus b of x. So kahit ano na yung polynomial. When the combination is like this, it is actually impossible for us to integrate anymore in mathematical by simple mathematical means. So tandaan nyo lang tong gantong form. So any parts na ganto na, so hindi na yun pwedeng talaga i-integrate. Even if you try to like i-chop mo to, okay, so halimbawa ganyan lang. So it's kind of difficult for us na to integrate this kasi combination na to ng naka-square root na cube, so hindi na talaga literal na integrate pag ganun. Kasi, di ba, we're kind of limited to mga square lang kasi yun lang yung kaya ng elementary functions natin. Pero pag naging cube na yan to the fourth, well, yung to the fourth, as long as we can do parang repeated roots, so pwede pa yon. Pero syempre, pag wala na do, hindi na natin kayang gawin yan, di ba? Then the next one is logarithmic integral. So ito yung one of the most common na na-encounter natin. So this is the representation defined for all positive real numbers such as x not equal to 1. So Li of x is equal to the integral of dt over ln of t from 0 to x. So ito, hindi na na-integrate. Kahit anong gawin nyo dyan, kahit try nyo pang i-let yan or integration by parts. So hindi na yan pwede. So, kasi diba dito, pag integration by parts, we let u is equal to 1 over ln of x and then dx natin is just dx. Pero, syempre, as we move forward sa differentiation, so mas tumataas na lang ng tumataas yung ating value nung negative power ng x. And then, yung ating namang x is and patas yung exponent ng ating x. So basically, nagka-cancel out lang silang dalawa. So therefore, we couldn't give the indefinite integral for this. Therefore, we rewrite it as the expression of Li of x and then we leave it as 0 to x dt over ln of t. So ayun, and then meron tayong tinatawag na offset expression nun. We have the capital Li of x which is equal to Li of x minus Li of 2. So, yun lang yun. And then, the error function, this is one of the most common functions for non-elementary functions under the probability or the statistics. So, the Gaussian integral is something like this. So, this is, kung tandaan nyo yung ating statistics, diba? This one is something na kinocompute natin based on calculator kasi this is very impossible to integrate. So, any form that looks like this will be given e r of x, which in this case, kung ano man yung x, that is e raised to negative x squared. So, ito lang yun. Kung ano lang yung naka-squared, then that's the variable. So, kung halimbawa, x squared to, so magiging to the fourth to. So, yun. Parang yun lang yung concept na. Yung t, kung ano man yung sasubstitute mo sa t, then yun yung magiging ano man dito, function. And then the Finite Integral. So these are the two transcendental functions named after Augustine John Finite, and these are used in optics and of course yun sa error function natin. So ito lang yun. The Finite Integral states that if you have the integral of sine of t squared dt, so imagine nyo, integrate nyo yung sine of x squared or sine of or cosine of x, or hindi nyo siya ma-integrate. So we usually represent that as s of x and then c of x na lang. Pag ganon. Just leave it like that. And then I think we're down with the last two. So the first one is the Trigonometric Integrals or the Dirichlet Integral. So ito yung pinaka-common, I think. If you have sine of t over t dt, so si of x yung magiging sagot mo. If you have cosine naman of t over t, so ci of x. Ang pinakaiba nito, ito siya pagka 1 minus cosine of t, so ci and x. Ang pinakaiba nito sa kanina is that ito sa function niya, meron t squared mismo, yung sine, yung t squared natin ang sinasine natin. Pero for this case, meron tayong sin t lang naman siya, pero dinidivide natin siya sa t, so si of x. And then meron din siya sa hyperbolic functions, pero we're just limited with the sine and cosine. So, shi and then chi natin. Okay, so whenever you encounter something like this, so just leave it na ganun na lang yung form. Okay. And then the exponential integral, so when you have e raised to negative t over t form or e raised to x over x form, so you have to expect na that's exponential integral of x ang maging sagot. So therefore, this expression ei of x is equal to the integral of, or the definite integral of e to the x over x dx. So yun. And hopefully, you can understand that sometimes, since hindi na natin siya masosolve by definite integrals, so by indefinite integrals, so we stop with those integration procedures. So let's have it. Let's solve the double integrals below. So in this case, let's integrate this one. Sabi natin, uunahin natin yung pinakaloob. So ano ba yung pinakaloob nito? Siyempre, we treat the other muna na constant dyan. So kung dy to, yung x muna is constant muna natin. So from this, the integral would be x y squared over 2 and then minus, ano ba yung cosine x dy? So that is y cosine of x. And then, we determine, or we write the limit, so 4 to x minus ln of x. And then, we integrate this, dx, okay, and then you write the limits. And then, upon substitution, we have x, x minus ln of x, we have squared over 2, and then minus x minus ln of x, and then cosine of x. Okay, and then minus, we have x times, this one is 4 squared, so that's 16 over 2, that becomes 8. Okay, and then minus 4 cosine of x. And then, we'll be integrating this next answer. Pero syempre, we can simplify muna. So, with this, we can simplify this first. So, we have x multiplied by x squared minus 2x ln of x plus ln squared x over 2. Okay, and expand ko siya. And then, we have minus x cosine of x plus ln x cosine of x. And then, we have minus 8x plus 4 cosine of x dx. Okay? Ay, hindi na pala kasya. So, I think I'll be moving dun sa other sheet. Okay, para mas kita natin. And then, I'll be rewriting this para kita nyo. So, we have x, and then x squared minus 2x ln of x. So, I have here yung ating x cosine x, which is can be solved. This can be solved using integration by parts. So, lagyan natin ng mga designation yung ating procedure na gagawin. So, ito, pwede pa natin muna siyang ano muna pala natin, expand muna natin tong expression na to. So, we have x cubed minus 2x squared ln x plus x ln squared x divided by 2, okay, from 3 to 5, dx. So, ganyan na lang muna. And then, this one, hiwalay natin yung mga pwede nating integrate. And then, plus 3 to 5. Or basta paghiwa-hiwalayin muna natin yung terms. And then, siguro pagsamahin ko na lang din tong dalawa na to. Kasi direct integration lang naman sila. Okay. So, yan yung ating mga terms. So, ito, label natin ang mga techniques natin. So, diba, this one is integration by parts. Also, this one, integration by parts. This is the basic integration procedures. Pinaliktad yung IB. So, ito na yung ating medyo problemado tayo dito kasi ito yung medyo complicated. Pero, we can actually partition this. So, pag yung unang part, this is the normal basic integration procedure. Pero itong 2x squared ln x, we can do integration by parts. And then, the next problem is this one, x ln squared x. Okay, so, what could happen here in this case if, kung meron ba talaga tong integral? So, basically, kung mapapansin nyo yung ating discussion before, wala namang ganyan talaga exact link form. Pero, let's leave it muna na wala tayong general na procedure. So, the first one here is x to the fourth over 4. So, that becomes 8. So, that is the first one. And then, this one is actually in integration by parts. So, minus. So, let's leave a space. And then, minus dito. This one is integration by parts. So, we have minus x sine x. This is plus cosine of x. So, yun yung kanyang antiderivative. Okay? And then this one is plus. We have also integration by parts. So, let's see kung ano mangyari dito na later. And then we have negative 8x squared over 2. So, that's minus 4x. And then plus. This one is 4 cosine of x. So, that's minus 4. Plus, tama. Plus 4 sine x. So, basically, meron tayong integral nito. Tsaka ito. And then this first part. So, we can integrate into x squared ln of x. Okay, so this part here is integration by parts to x squared ln of x. So, hindi ko na ipapakita yung another procedure ng 2x squared ln of x. Just use yung inyong SDI table. And pwede mong gamitin dyan is yung derivative is itong 2x squared up to 0. And then, you have to expect na yung mangyayari dyan, magkakaroon ko ulit ng another integration by parts sa part ng integral ng ln of x. Pero, you can obtain the result. So, from this, the value of 2x squared ln of x, the antiderivative of that is actually equal to 2 over 9, and then x cubed, then 3 ln of x, and then minus 1. Okay, so this is the answer for this minus 2x squared ln of x. And then, for x ln squared x, so maya natin i-evaluate, and then ln x cosine of x. So, what happens with ln x cosine of x? So, sabi natin sa Lie, it is a priority for the natural logarithm. So, we have x di, and then we have, ano ba yung s plus, and then ln of x, and then this one is cosine of x, then minus, we have 1 over x, and then the integral would be sine x. Okay. So, from this, ano ba yung meron ditong result? So, kahit naman idiretso natin to, wala na tayong makikitang answer dyan kasi hindi na ito matatapos, and this will repeat. So, we can just use yung parang concept natin ng repeating. So, from this, we could have that the integral of ln of x cosine of x is actually equal to ln of x sine x minus the integral of sine x over, so that's minus the integral, so parang papaganon yan. So, ln x sine x, and then minus the integral of sine x over x dx, which of course in this case alam naman natin itong sine x over x from our previous discussion is actually six. So therefore you can just leave it right like that. So this is plus ln of x sine x, and then minus, so you have to subtract this with that particular non-elementary iba pala yung kulay, ay same pala yung color. So, with that non-elementary expression natin, so that is plus SI, or natin green. So, that is SI of X. Okay, so hopefully tandaan nyo dun. So, kung di nyo tanda, you can just go back here. So dito sabi natin kapag meron tayong sin t over t, so that would be si of x. So kung ano man yung function na yun, so you can just incorporate that in your expression. The next one is x ln squared x. So for x ln squared x, so we have, ano ba yung lalet natin dito na sa SDI table? So remember, ang SDI natin dito is actually yung logarithmic function, kasi kung ilalet natin yung ito, so hindi natin, matatapos tayo, pero yung ln squared x is actually difficult to find its antiderivative. So SDI would be ln squared x, this is positive, this is x, then 2 ln of x over x, this one is, the integral would be x squared over 2, so yon, and hopefully we can derive the integral or the antiderivative from this. Then we will be having x squared over 2 ln squared x, and then minus, so minus the integral of x squared over 2, and then, so makakancel pala yung 2, so we'll be having na lang na x squared, and then x squared ln x. Okay, so from this, yung x squared ln x, so pwede pa ba natin to ngayon na hanapan ng integration by parts? So pwede pa rin. So you can do another SDI table here. So gagawin naman natin ngayon is that we'll try to use yung ating ln x being our derivative. From this case, pwede ulit tayo mag-integration by parts. So we have u being equal to ln of x, du being equal to 1 over x, dv is actually equal to x squared, so therefore v is equal to x cubed over 3. Therefore, our expression becomes x cubed over 3 ln of x, and then minus the integral of v du, so that's x squared over 3. So therefore, the antiderivative in this case gives you x cubed over 3 ln of x, then minus x cubed over 9. So therefore, the answer, you can now substitute this portion here, minus, so that's minus x cubed over 3 ln x minus x cubed over 9. Okay, so from this, the expression for the last one is actually a combination of a lot of integration by parts, but still, it's still integrable. So from this, we could say that that is plus, so plus x squared over 2 ln squared x minus x cubed over 3 ln x plus x cubed over 9. And then yon. And then it should be written around here. Okay? And that's it for our integration. So hopefully, nag-gets nyo siya. Inisa-isa naman natin yan. And then, ito ngayon is integrated. All of them are integrated from 3 to 5. So you just have to substitute yung 3 and 5 in this case, and then you should be getting the answer. So, okay naman na mag-substitute tayo dito kasi makukuha natin yung values, and hindi ko na siya ipapakita, no? Pero dito sa part na to, SI of x, so you have to remember na itong SI of x natin, that is equal to the integral from 0 to x SI of sine of t over t dt. So, ganyan yung ibig sabihin niya, no? But you started with 0. So, paano pag 3, 5? So, you can rewrite this as ln of x sine x, pero you have to evaluate this from 3 to 5, and then you just have to subtract this from 3 to 5, and then sine x over x dx. Okay? So, ganun lang yun, and then you should be getting the correct answer for this. So, technically, to check that, just evaluate this directly on your calculator, and you should be getting the same answer for this one. Okay? And that's it for this number 1. So, hindi ko na ipapakita yung substitution nito. So, hopefully, kaya nyo na yung mag-substitute dyan. And, so, ito, and then we can go back naman since nandito naman yun sa handout din, yung complete solution yan. Okay, so, yan yun. And then, dito yung sa portion natin na nagkaroon tayo ng SI of x. So, nilabas na lang natin para hindi siya makasagabal. So, that's 0.29872. And then, ito yung magiging makukuha yung sagot dapat. So, yun lang. And hopefully, natandaan nyo siya na galing siya sin x ln of x minus SI of x based on the integral of sine of x over x dx. Okay, so that's it for number 1. And let's try doing number 2 naman. So for number 2, the integration natin would be from the inside. So constant, i-held natin na constant yung ating y. So from this, the integral would be, so that's x raised to negative 1, so that becomes ln of x. Okay, and then plus x over y. So we evaluate this from ln of y to e raised to negative y, and then dy integral from 2 to 4. Okay, then we substitute yung ating mga limits. So we have ln of e raised to negative y, and then plus e raised to negative y over y minus ln of y, okay, and then plus ln of y over y, and then we close this with dy, the integral from 2 to 4. Okay, and then ito, diba, it simplifies to negative y, and then plus e raised to negative y over y, and then minus ln of y, wala tayong magagawa dito, and then plus ln of y over y. This is dy, and then from 2 to 4. So as you can see, let's encircle or box yung mga pwede nating ma-integrate dito na through our previous lessons. So this one, basic integration procedure. This one, we can think of this as e raised to negative y over y. May kamukha yan dun sa previous natin. So let's just have it mamaya. Okay? So ln of y, wala din tong kamukha sa ating expression before, as well as ln of y over y. So we can go back here dun sa ating mga expression dito, and then let's see kung ano ba yung kamukha nitong isa. So I'm talking about this expression, e raised to negative y over y, wherein e raised to negative t over t to. So in this case lang kasi, since nagkaroon tayo ng negative expression dito, so kung ang halimbawa ang iyong expression naman is negative din, so therefore your y should be parang positive naman in that case. So yon, and then ano pa ba yung nandito sa atin? So we have the logarithmic. So we can have the logarithmic here. Ayun. So as you can see, the logarithmic here naman is wala naman tayo talaga ditong kagaya nung kanina, no? Pero let's see kung magkakaroon tayo ng something na pwede tayong ma-relate natin if we try to let yung mga certain variable. So yun, itong last one dito, ln of y over y. So I think we can perform integration by parts here kasi as you can see, ln of y over y, ang derivative ng ln of y is 1 over y, which is actually integrable in this case. So unahin natin tong negative y. So we have, let's have it here. So meron tayong negative y squared over 2, and then iwan natin to, tsaka itong dalawa, skip tayo dito. So plus, ano ba to magiging, di ba, if let u equal to 1 over y, ln y. So if we let u equal to ln of y, du would be equal to 1 over y dy. So therefore, this expression is actually u du. So therefore, that is u squared over 2, which gives us ln squared y over 2. Okay, so that is the indefinite integral for this case. So with this, ano ba yung e raised to negative y over y? Okay, so remember, sabi sa atin, if you have e of y x, that is equal to the integral of e to the x over x dx. Okay, and the general expression comes from ei of x, that is equal to the negative of e raised to negative t over t dt. So from this expression pa lang, we could see na kung gagawin natin na negative yung ating x, then you should be getting a negative value here. Okay, since ang ating x is negative, so diba, we can think of this as if we let u, for example, we let u is equal to negative x from this case. So gawin natin na ei of u is equal to the integral of e to the u over u du. So parang ganyan siya. If we let u is equal to negative x, then du is equal to negative dx. Okay, so from this, we could say that ei of x would be equal to the integral from e to the negative x over, ano ba yung u natin? U is negative x, so negative x and then negative dx. So therefore, we could say that ei of, not really x, but a negative x here, kasi yun yung ating u. Diba? Ei of u, so yun yung ating is negative x. So ei of negative x would be equal to positive e raised to negative x over x dx, which in this case is the exact replica of e raised to negative y over y dy. So therefore, the answer here becomes plus e I of negative y. Okay, and then we can now proceed with the last one, which of course will be utilizing dito yung ating concept ng integration by parts. So, ln of y. So, if we have ln of y, so integration by parts na yung pwede natin gawin dito kasi wala talaga tayong choice eh. So, we let u equal to ln of y, and then yung ating du would be equal to 1 over ln y times 1 over y. Our dv is equal to dy, and our v is equal to y. So from this, uv becomes y ln of y, and then minus the integral of v du. So that is actually y over y. So that is 1 over ln of y dy. Okay, so this is our expression. Y ln of y, and then minus 1 over ln of y dy. So this expression, so yan na yung una natin term. Pero remember, this 1 over ln of y dy is actually an expression of li of y. So you can go back here. So pwede nyo siya laging i-check, and then you can see it from here na, ano ba yun? Logarithmic. Pasensya na, medyo magulo na to. Ayun, dt over ln of t or dx over ln of x is actually li of x. So having the same expression as your dy over ln of y, so therefore this is your li of y. Okay, so we can go back here and say that read itong part na to, which is of course obtained from the integration by parts. So that is minus, so we have minus y ln of y, okay? And then of course we subtract, so this is or this becomes parang plus kasi nga minus natin na dyan eh. So we have plus li of y, positive y, and then we have the red one for the last expression, which is plus ln of y over y. Okay, and this is all evaluated from 2 to 4. So ito, isa-substitute nyo yan lahat. Okay, individually yan for 4, 2. And then for ei of negative y, so diba this ei of negative y would be equal to the integral from, ano ba yun? 2 to 4. So 2 to 4. And then you have e raised to negative x or e raised to negative y over y dy, and that is simply dy over ln of y. So you use your calculator to integrate this directly. So you should be getting an answer that is equal to negative 6.67927. So hindi ko na siya masyado evaluate dito kasi marunong na naman kayo niyan, substitution. So I just wanted to show you how this works, itong mga non-elementary integrals natin na wala tayong option na, or wala na tayong way para ma-solve. So we'll just be leaving them as this kind of expression and directly integrate them. So dito sa portion na to, sa multiple integration in 3D with non-elementary integrals, so hindi kayo allowed gumamit ng calculator for direct integration. Allowed lang kayo gumamit ng integration or ng calculator for these parts na, ay hindi pala yan. Ito sa mga parts na to na non-elementary integrals wherein we need to directly integrate this. So ganun lang yun. Okay, and I think that's the end of this example for multiple integration in 3D. I mean in with non-elementary integrals.